Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Shelter Insurance Agents Grant Baker in Aurora and Sean Holman in Lockwood. Missouri State Highway Patrol, the Bank of Billings, Doak Propane, and Great Southern Bank. We're certainly pleased to be joined now by Smithville Warriors head football coach, Jason Ambroson. Coach Ambroson, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
At 11-0. Before we talk about what you've got coming up, you go back a week ago, you had a 29-14 win over Lincoln College Prep. Tell us a little bit about that contest.
Great football game. If you're a spectator, as a coach, they get a little tough, but really good football team that we played. Very well coached, very hard-nosed, very tough, very physical, and very, very fast, extremely fast team. And they were hard to get used to at first. We really had, and we've given up one rushing touchdown all year until last week. And they went right down the field on us, and we had to kind of get used to their speed a little bit. And after we kind of figured it out, got the angles figured out and got used to it, just because it was so hard to simulate in practice. We were able to score 22 unanswered and take control of the game with a combination of solid defense, forcing a couple of turnovers, and being really efficient on offense. And that's just a tribute to my kids and the coaches that put the kids in those situations. And it was a great win against a great football team.
Coach, kind of put a wrap around your team. What are some things you're doing really well right now at this point of the season? 10-3 a year ago. I believe you got to this game a year ago with Elias. What are some things you're doing really well right now?
Well, I think our leadership is really strong. We have a great group of kids from the senior class to junior class, and even some of the sophomores that contribute. And we got a great collection of really good kids that believe in doing things right, show up on time. I mean, they're the way they do things is very, very good. And so if you were to kind of talk about the strengths of that group, I would say defensively, very relentless. We're not the biggest. We're not the fastest. We're going to be pretty physical. And we're strong. We've worked really hard to get to that point in the weight room, but it's not natural. It's just a bunch of kids that have worked really hard. So we're very relentless on defense. Offensively, we're led by a quarterback who's really good with football. He gets us in the right plays and does things right. And he's completed 68% of his passes. We're probably somewhere around 58, 60% on third down conversions for the year. I think 58 is probably what it is. And doesn't put us behind the sticks a lot. The times that we fail is because we've chose to fail by committing a penalty or not doing something right to get us behind the chains or the sticks. And our kids on offense do a really good job of being efficient, of putting together long drives. We're not a big play team, and we just are very efficient, put together drives and score the football and try to hold on to it. We call it love the ball, not give it up. And then in the special teams, we try to be clean, to where we don't beat ourselves and we try to set ourselves up for success.
Is there an advantage, for your kids, because you guys were there last year? Is that something that's going to help you out, as you prepare for this game coming up with MICDS, that this was a game you played in a year ago?
Yeah, I think it's different every year, though. Last year we went into the game against Elias, and I think there's pretty much everybody in the state of Missouri thought that Elias was going to trounce us except for us. And we ended up making it a very good football game and probably should have won. I think we let one slip away. I would say that Elias going into that game was a better football team. We were pretty young at the time. We were starting 8 sophomores. And so I thought that our kids played at an extremely high level. We had a young man get hurt in the first series that really hurt us and down the stretch. And just one, because he's a great football player, but even two, because he's a great kid. And we were able to rally from that and really keep our composure and play football against a good football team. This year, I think it's a little bit different. I think we've been kind of a front runner, at least in people's eyes, since day one. So having that target on your back, I think, is a little bit different. I don't think there's much difference between us and MICDS. Their targets always have been on their back. So they've won a lot of football games and been very good for a very long time. And we've been good for a while and just trying to take that next step.
What challenges does MICDS, what do they present for you? What are some things you're really having to study on film and some things you're going to have to take away from them?
Well, I don't know if you can take things away. I think the thing you have to make sure you do, especially for us, week in and week out, we got to eliminate big plays when we're on defense. And that happens by being relentless and getting lined up right and doing what you need to do. I think so getting rid of the big plays. I think offensively, you can't turn the ball over, and these are probably things that we really focus on week in and week out. And it's no different against MICDS. I think it's probably harder against a team like them. They're very well disciplined. They do a lot of different things. They're extremely well coached, with Fred being there, and they were when Matt was there, and all those other guys too that we've played against. So I don't take that away from. I think anytime you see teams that are winning 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 football games a year, they're all very well coached, and they have a bunch of kids who have bought in and who are committed, and MICDS poses that. I just think it's a matter of eliminating the big play, making sure you take care of the ball, and then make the plays you're supposed to make. It's kind of a baseball ideal about football. There's going to be some plays that they're going to make because they're good football teams. What you have to do is make sure you make the ones you're supposed to. And I think that's what we're focusing on, is more worrying about what we're supposed to do to give ourselves an opportunity to succeed versus what they have to do.
Coach, when you wake up the next morning, if you guys are fortunate enough to come out on top, what's one or two stats that you're going to look at and say that's where the difference in the game was, whether it be turnovers, time of possession? What are a couple of stats that you're really going to have to win?
Well, I think number one, I think it's turnovers. I always think it's turnovers. And then I think it's, and I think that falls in, we call that the discipline category. Whether you're talking about turnovers and whether you're talking about penalties, those are things that you can affect, you can take care of. And we have to take care of the things we can take care of. And that's the discipline factor. I think that will be a big one. I think the second one, not always time of possession, but I do think that helps with, do you make the tackles you're supposed to make when you're on defense? And do you make the catches and make the reads that you're supposed to make when you're on offense? Do you do the things that you need to do? And so we categorize those things as number one, the discipline factors. And then number two, the execution factors. And I think that's what it's really going to come down to. But I think to most of the people, it's going to be turnovers and penalties and the discipline factor.
1:30 on Saturday. And I believe it's at MICDS.
Correct.
And so what's the travel plans? When are you guys taking off?
We're leaving here early Friday morning. Going to go there and practice, stop somewhere along the way, a couple hours, and get a little exercise in and move around a little bit, and then get our pregame meal, and then get back on the bus and get there. Kind of break it in half. I told our kids it's no different. It's actually, when I broke it down by hours, I said, guys, it's actually a shorter trip than a normal school day. Because a normal school day, you guys are here at 7:30 in the morning, and by the time the game gets done at 7:00, it's 9:30. And now, heck, we're going to leave at 6:30, and we're going to be done by 4:00. I said, heck, that's a quick trip for you guys. That's a half a day. You guys will be fine. So that's how we sell it, And they kind of looked at it and went, oh, yeah, guess you're right.
You bet. Well, Coach Ambroson, I certainly appreciate you being generous with your time. I know you've got to get out to practice here, and I told you I'd get you out by 2:40. And if things go well for you, hopefully we can visit again next week.
That would be great. I would love to do that. Appreciate you taking the time. I loved hearing some of your stories, and I wish you the best. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you bet. Happy Thanksgiving and good luck.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
You bet. You're listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Keep it right here.